You are closer to the breakthrough than you think. I need you to hear that before anything else, before the doubt has a chance to form a counter-argument, before the part of you that has been waiting a long time starts to remind you of all the other moments that felt like this and did not turn out to be. I need you to hear it first, plainly and directly, without qualification, and without the hedging that would make it easier to dismiss. You are close, closer than you were yesterday. Closer than you were in the hardest stretch of the waiting. Closer than the silence has made it feel. And I am not saying this to give you a feeling that will carry you through the day and then evaporate. I am saying it because it is true, and because the truth of it has practical implications for how you carry the next season, and because the enemy has been working very hard to keep you from knowing it. If you knew how close you were, you would not stop. And stopping is exactly what he is trying to get you to do. So stay. Keep going. The ground you are standing on right now is more significant than it looks. My dear child, I want to talk to you about the nature of breakthroughs, because I think there is a misunderstanding about them that has made this season harder than it needed to be. Most people imagine a breakthrough as a single dramatic event, a moment so clear and so unmistakable that there is no question when it has arrived. And some breakthroughs do arrive that way. But many of them do not. Many of them arrive gradually, through a series of shifts that are individually subtle, but that are collectively building toward a tipping point. The last push before a breakthrough often looks indistinguishable from all the pushing that came before it. The day before the door opens can feel exactly like the week before the door opens, exactly like the month before, exactly like the year before. Nothing in the visible landscape announces that the next step is the one that changes things. And that invisibility is what makes the final stretch of the waiting so dangerous. Because it is the stretch where quitting feels most reasonable, where the evidence for stopping is strongest, where the case that nothing is ever going to change is easiest to make. And it is also the stretch where the breakthrough is nearest. The last mile of a long road is the hardest mile, but it is still the last mile. I want to speak to you about what has been building in this season, because I know from the inside it has felt like nothing was building. I know the days have felt repetitive, and the progress has felt invisible, and the gap between where you are and where you are trying to get has felt stubbornly fixed. But I want to tell you what I see from where I am standing, because what I see and what you feel are two entirely different things right now. What I see is pressure building. The way pressure builds inside a container before a release. The way water builds behind a dam before it finds the outlet. The way tension builds in a situation before it resolves. All of the faithfulness you have been bringing into this season, all of the prayers that have been accumulating, all of the perseverance that has felt unproductive, all of the holding on that has felt like it was going nowhere, none of it has been lost. It has been building. It has been adding to a pressure that is looking for a release point, and the release point is close. The pressure has been building long enough, and the faithfulness has been accumulating long enough that what is about to happen is not going to be a small or tentative opening. It is going to be a breakthrough, a real one that is proportional to everything that has been building toward it. I also want to speak to the specific thing you have been pressing toward, because I know the breakthrough is not an abstract concept for you. It has a shape and a face and a name. It is the specific situation that has not yet resolved, the specific door that has not yet opened, the specific answer that has not yet come, the specific shift that you have been believing for through all the seasons of the waiting. I'm not going to name it here because I am speaking to many and every person's story is different, but you know what it is. You have known what it is every day you have been carrying it, and I want to speak directly about that specific thing today. It is coming. The breakthrough in that specific area is coming. I have not changed my mind about it. I have not decided it was too difficult or too complicated or too far gone to be worth the effort. I have been working toward it through every day of the waiting in ways that were not visible to you, setting things in motion that had to be set in motion before the breakthrough could arrive with the fullness it is meant to carry. What you are waiting for is still in motion. It is still being prepared, and it is closer today than it has ever been. I want to talk about the enemy's strategy in the final stretch, because I think understanding it clearly is one of the most important things you can do right now. The enemy knows when a breakthrough is close. He does not have my knowledge or my authority, but he has been watching the situation, and he can see the momentum building. And when he sees a breakthrough approaching in someone's life, his response is not to accept it. His response is to escalate, to pour more discouragement into the season than was there before, to amplify the doubt and the exhaustion and the sense that nothing is ever going to change, to bring in new distractions and new obstacles and new reasons why this particular moment is not the right time to press forward. Everything the enemy does in the final stretch of a breakthrough is designed to get you to stop just before the thing you have been waiting for arrives. He is not creative in this. He uses the same strategy every time. But it is effective because the timing of his escalation coincides precisely with the moment when you are most tired and most tempted to believe that one more day of holding on is not going to make a difference. It is going to make a difference, and he knows it, which is why he is trying so hard to convince you otherwise. I want to ask you to do something with what I have just told you. The next time the discouragement rises, the next time the exhaustion whispers that stopping is reasonable, the next time the doubt makes its case that nothing is ever going to change, I want you to recognize what is actually happening. Not a truthful assessment of your situation, a strategic attack timed to the proximity of your breakthrough. I want you to respond to it not by engaging with its argument, but by pressing forward anyway. Not because you have manufactured certainty that you do not feel, not because you have managed to silence the doubt, but because you have heard from God today about where you actually are in this story, and because you have decided that what God says about your situation is more reliable than what the enemy is whispering in the final stretch. Press forward. One more day, one more step, one more prayer. One more act of faithfulness in the direction of what you have been believing for, because the breakthrough is on the other side of the next step, and the next step is available to you right now. I want to speak now about the people around you who are watching you press toward the breakthrough, because I think you need to know that your perseverance is doing something beyond your own story. There are people in your life who are observing this season, who are watching you hold on when everything around you seems to argue for letting go, who are measuring the size of their own faith against the faithfulness you are demonstrating. Some of them are further back in a journey similar to yours, and what you do in this final stretch is going to speak to them about what is possible. Some of them have already quit the thing they were pressing toward, and watching you stay is quietly rekindling something in them that they thought was extinguished. Some of them do not yet know me, and they are watching your life to see whether faith produces anything real, whether the God you trust actually shows up, whether the breakthrough you have been believing for actually comes. Your perseverance is a testimony in real time. It is reaching people who will never be reached by a polished, Sunday morning version of the faith, but who can be reached by the raw, unedited, still pressing on in the middle of the hard version that you are living right now. Stay in it. Not just for yourself, but for everyone your breakthrough is going to affect. Please know that every seed you plant in this mission grows into a torch that shines in someone else's darkness. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our community, your support does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. But more than your support, we want your presence. When you head to our Daily Light of Christ community through the link in the description or the pinned comment, you are not just visiting a site. You are entering a family of like-minded believers who know what it means to press toward the breakthrough when the pressing is hard, who gather every day to encourage each other, and to remind each other that the waiting is not wasted, and the faithfulness is not invisible, and the breakthrough is real, and it is coming. This is a sanctuary where you can post your prayer requests, lift the burdens of others, and engage in daily discussions with people who speak the language of faith, and who will stand with you in prayer when you do not have the strength to stand alone. Whether you are joining one of our membership tiers for deeper study, sowing a seed of faith, or simply joining our daily morning prayers, you are helping build a global altar of worship. Heaven moves through willing voices, but it grows through a community that stands together. Each gift you give reaches someone who is in the final stretch of their own long wait, almost ready to stop, needing to hear that they are closer than they think. Your seed reaches them. Your presence changes things. Give and it will be given to you. That is the promise that sustains this shared mission. Come with purpose. Join the conversation. Plant your seed in fertile ground. Let us open the heavens together. I want to go deeper into what the final stretch of a long wait actually feels like from the inside, because I think naming it accurately is part of how you recognize it as a season rather than as a permanent state. The final stretch has a particular quality that is different from the earlier stages of the waiting. In the early stages, the faith is often fresher, the energy is higher, and the certainty that the breakthrough is coming has not yet been worn down by the accumulated weight of time. In the middle stages, a kind of endurance sets in, a settling into the long work of holding on, a recalibration of expectations about how long this is going to take. But the final stretch has its own distinct character. It is the stage where the weariness is deepest, where the holding on feels most costly, where the gap between where you are and where you have been trying to get seems both most painfully visible and most stubbornly fixed. It is the stage where quitting feels most reasonable and most justified. And it is the stage I am speaking to today because it is the stage you are in. And the thing I most need you to know about it is this. The characteristics that make it feel like it is never going to end are the same characteristics that mark it as the final stretch. The depth of the weariness, the intensity of the resistance, the escalation of the doubt, these are not signs that the breakthrough is further away than it has ever been. They are signs that it is closer than it has ever been. You are in the hardest part because you are in the last part, and the last part ends. I also want to speak to you about the specific things you have sacrificed in the pressing toward this breakthrough, because I do not want them to go unacknowledged. The time you poured in, the energy you gave when you were already depleted, the faith you maintained when maintaining it cost you something, the relationships you navigated while carrying the weight of this, the opportunities you passed on because they were not aligned with what you were believing for, the version of a more comfortable life you did not settle for because you knew I had called you to something more. I see every sacrifice. I have recorded every cost. And I want you to know that none of it has been invisible to me and none of it has been wasted. The sacrifice that a long wait requires is not a tax on the blessing. It is part of what makes the person who receives the blessing ready to carry it well. Every costly thing you have laid down in the pressing toward this has been building something in you that the easier road would never have produced. And the breakthrough that is coming is going to find someone who was shaped by the pressing into exactly the person needed to receive it, steward it, and carry it forward in the way I always intended. I want to speak to the specific doubts that have been loudest in this final stretch, because I think naming them takes some of their power away. The first doubt is the one that says you must have missed something. That somewhere along the way, you took a wrong turn that explains the length of the wait, that if you had been more obedient or more faithful or more discerning, you would already be on the other side of this. I want to address that doubt directly. You did not miss it. The length of the wait is not evidence of a mistake you made. It is the length of a preparation that required the time it took. The second doubt is the one that says the promise was not really for you, that you heard something you wanted to hear or interpreted a hope as a word when it was not. I want to speak to that doubt too. The promise was real. The word was genuine. The hope I placed in you about this situation was not wishful thinking. It was something I planted, and I planted it because it was true, and it is still true today, regardless of how long the fulfillment has taken. And the third doubt, the one that is perhaps hardest to admit, is the one that says even if the breakthrough comes, it is too late, that the years it has taken have cost so much that the arrival of what you were believing for would be bittersweet at best. I want to speak to that doubt with particular tenderness. It is not too late. When I bring the breakthrough, it will not arrive as a consolation prize for someone who missed their window. It will arrive as the fullness of what I promised, in the season that was always appointed for it, complete and sufficient, and more than able to redeem the time the waiting cost. I want to talk now about the step that is right in front of you, the practical next thing, the action that is available to you in this moment that keeps you moving in the direction of what you have been pressing toward. Because I think one of the ways the enemy keeps people stuck in the final stretch is by making the breakthrough feel so large and so far away that the small practical steps available today feel pointless in comparison. Why take this small step when the thing I need is so much larger than anything one step can produce? That is the logic that stops people when they are closest. And I want to disrupt it. The step in front of you matters, not because it is the step that single-handedly produces the breakthrough, but because it is the step that keeps you in motion, that maintains the momentum, that refuses to give the enemy the stopping point he has been working toward. The person who took the step today is in a different position tomorrow than the person who did not. The cumulative effect of small faithful steps in the right direction is what breakthroughs are built on. Take the step, the small one, the unglamorous one, the one that feels too modest to be significant. It is significant. Every step in the right direction is significant, and the breakthrough is on the other side of enough of them, and enough of them is closer than you think. I want to speak now about what the breakthrough is going to feel like when it arrives, because I think having a picture of it is part of what keeps the hope alive in the final stretch. It is going to feel like relief, not just the practical relief of the thing you have been waiting for finally being resolved, though that will be part of it. The deeper relief of a weight being lifted that has been so present for so long that you had forgotten what it was like to carry yourself without it. The relief of the shoulders dropping from the position they have been holding. The relief of the breath that comes freely for the first time in a season that required a kind of constant bracing. It is also going to feel like vindication. The quiet, private, deeply personal vindication of the person who held on when everyone else thought the holding on was foolish, who believed when the evidence was thin, who kept going when the going was hard, and who turned out to be right to do so. Not a vindication that needs to be announced, just the internal settling of knowing that the faith was not misplaced, that the promise was real, that the God who made it kept it, and that the story turned the way it was always meant to turn. That feeling is coming, and it is worth every day of the pressing toward it. I also want to speak about what you do with the breakthrough when it arrives, because this is something I want you to think about before it comes. When the thing you have been pressing toward finally breaks open, when the door opens, or the provision arrives, or the shift happens, or the answer comes, I want you to receive it with full hands and full presence and full gratitude. Do not minimize it. Do not immediately move to the next thing without fully inhabiting the moment of arrival. Do not let the habit of waiting, the constant forward lean that the long season required, prevent you from actually stopping and receiving the gift when the gift arrives. Let yourself feel the relief. Let yourself feel the gratitude. Let yourself feel the joy that belongs to the breakthrough. And then, when you have received it fully, let it become the foundation of your testimony. Let it be the story you carry into every future season of waiting, the evidence you return to when the faith is thin and the breakthrough feels far away. Let it be the thing you say when someone else is in the final stretch and needs to hear from someone who has been there that breakthroughs are real, that God keeps his promises, that the pressing is worth it. That is what I am giving you when I bring the breakthrough, not just the resolution of the immediate situation. The permanent testimony that will carry you and carry others for the rest of your story. I want to speak about something now that I think will reframe this entire season for you if you let it. I want to speak about the difference between the breakthrough as an event and the breakthrough as a process. Because I think most people are watching for the event, the singular moment when everything changes, and in watching for it, they are missing the process, which is the series of smaller changes that are already happening and that are building toward the event. The breakthrough is not only coming. In some ways, it has already begun. The shift that happened in your thinking 3 weeks ago that you almost dismissed as insignificant, that was part of the breakthrough. The relationship that formed 6 months ago that you have not yet understood the full significance of, that is part of the breakthrough. The door that cracked open slightly in the last season without fully opening, that crack is part of the breakthrough. The change in you that happened through the hard months of pressing, the deepening of your character, the strengthening of your faith, the expanding of your capacity to hold what is coming, that is part of the breakthrough. The event that you are waiting for is the final piece of a process that has already been unfolding. And when it arrives, it will make all the previous pieces suddenly visible in their proper context, and you will look back and see that the breakthrough was not something that happened in a moment. It was something that was built over a season, and the moment was simply when it became undeniable. I also want to speak about rest, because I think the final stretch requires a particular kind of rest that is different from giving up, and I want to make sure you know the difference. Giving up is a withdrawal from the direction you have been moving, a turning away from what you have been pressing toward, a decision that the cost of continuing is greater than the value of what you are pressing toward. Rest is something entirely different. Rest is the permission to stop straining for a moment without stopping the journey. It is the pause that replenishes the strength for the next stretch without abandoning the destination. It is what I modeled when I rested on the seventh day, not because the work was abandoned, but because the work was complete enough to pause, and the pausing was itself part of the process. I am giving you permission to rest in the pressing, to stop straining and start trusting for a moment, to release the white-knuckle grip on the outcome and let me hold it for a day while you breathe. That is not quitting. That is wisdom. And the rest that wisdom provides is going to carry you through the final stretch with more left in you than the straining would leave. Rest, trust, breathe, and then keep going. The breakthrough does not require your exhaustion as a proof of your commitment. It requires your faithfulness, and faithful rest is still faithful. I want to speak now to the specific people in your life who have expressed doubt about what you have been pressing toward, the ones who have gently or not so gently suggested that you are being unrealistic, that the thing you are believing for is not going to happen, that the sensible thing would be to adjust your expectations and settle for what is achievable. I know those voices have been present. I know that some of them came from people you respect and whose opinions carry weight with you. And I want to address what those voices have been doing to your faith, because I think the impact has been more significant than you may have fully acknowledged. Every time someone you respect expresses doubt about what you are pressing toward, it deposits something in you that you then have to spend energy managing, a counter-argument that runs in the background, a seed of their skepticism that takes root alongside your faith and competes with it for space. I want to speak over every seed of doubt that was planted by someone else's unbelief. Their inability to see what I showed you does not reduce the reality of what I showed you. Their skepticism is not more reliable than my word. The people around you are seeing your situation through human eyes with human information and human limits. I am seeing it from the perspective of the one who designed it, who holds the outcome, and who told you what was coming. When their assessment and my word are in conflict, my word is the one to anchor to, not because the people who doubt you are bad people, but because they simply do not have access to what I have shown you. And what I have shown you is true. There is one more thing I want to say about the breakthrough and what it is going to mean beyond the immediate resolution of the situation you have been pressing toward. I want to say something about the person you are becoming through the pressing, because that person is in many ways the most significant outcome of this entire season. The breakthrough you have been waiting for is going to change your circumstances, but the person you have become through the waiting is going to change everything that follows the circumstances. The capacity for sustained faith under pressure that this season has built in you is something you are going to carry into every future season. The ability to hold onto a word from God when the evidence is thin and the voices are loud and the timeline is long, that ability is forged in exactly this kind of season, and it does not disappear when the season ends. It becomes part of who you are, part of the foundation you stand on. Part of what makes you dangerous to everything the enemy tries to build in and around your life going forward. You are not just pressing toward a breakthrough. You are being made into someone who knows how to break through. And that person, the one you are becoming right now in the final stretch, is going to be one of the most important things this whole long season produced. I want to end by speaking to the part of you that is most afraid to fully believe what I have said today. The part that wants to receive this and is simultaneously protecting itself from the possibility that receiving it fully and then being disappointed again would be more than it could bear. I see that part of you. I understand why it is there. And I am not asking it to disappear before you can move forward. I am asking it to come with you. To let the doubt and the hope coexist in you as you take the next step, because they will, and that coexistence is not a disqualification from the breakthrough. It is a completely human and completely acceptable way to move towards something you have been waiting a long time for. Bring the doubt with you into the next step. Bring the exhaustion. Bring the part of you that has been here before and is not entirely sure this time is different. Bring all of it. I can work with all of it. The only thing I need from you is the step, just the next step, in the direction of what you have been believing for, with whatever you have left to bring. And I will meet you in it. I will meet you with everything the breakthrough requires, because it is ready. And so, my child, are you. I want to give you a final picture before we pray, because I think it will carry what I have been saying today in a way that stays with you past the moment of hearing it. Think about a runner in a long race, not a sprint, but the kind of race that tests endurance over distance. In the early miles, the energy is high, and the pace feels sustainable, and the finish line, though far away, is an abstract motivator that keeps the legs moving. In the middle miles, the energy drops, and the effort increases, and the finish line begins to feel like a concept rather than a destination. But in the final miles, something shifts. Not because it becomes easier, it does not. In fact, the final miles are almost always the hardest physically. But the runner who has been in this place before knows something that the outside observer does not. The pain and the difficulty of the final miles is not a sign that the race is unwinnable. It is a sign that the finish line is close. It is the cost of the final approach. And the runner who understands that responds to the difficulty not by slowing down, but by pressing harder, by reaching for whatever is left in the reserves, by deciding that the proximity of the finish line is worth the cost of the final push. That is where you are. The finish line is close. The difficulty of right now is the cost of the final approach. And everything in you that has been trained by the long miles of this season is available for the final push. Use it. Press harder. The tape is just ahead. And when you break through it, everything that the race cost you will make complete sense. You are closer than you think, my child. Do not stop now. The breakthrough is the next thing. And I will be there when it arrives, ready to celebrate with you everything that the faithfulness of this long season has finally produced. I want to say one last thing to you before we go to prayer, and I want to say it as plainly and as directly as I know how. I have been watching you press. I have seen every day of the long season. I have witnessed the mornings when you woke up and chose to believe again when belief was hard. I have been present for every prayer that felt hollow and every step that felt pointless, and every day that passed without visible progress, and still you kept going. And I want to tell you something about what that has looked like from where I sit. It has looked like one of the most genuinely courageous things I have ever witnessed. Not the dramatic courage that announces itself and invites admiration. The quiet kind. The kind that just keeps showing up even when showing up costs everything. The kind that chooses faithfulness in the private, ordinary days when no one is watching and no one is applauding and the only witness is me. I have been that witness every single day. And everything you have brought into this season, every ounce of it, has been received by me and held by me, and it is building towards something that is going to be everything I promised and more. Do not give up. Not today. Not when you are this close. The next thing is the breakthrough. And the breakthrough is worth every day it took to get here. And I want to add this because I think you need to hear it specifically today. The fact that you are still here, still pressing, still believing after everything this season has cost you, is itself a miracle. It is not a small thing. It is not the baseline expectation of a person of faith. It is the extraordinary result of a grace that has been sustaining you through a season that was genuinely hard, and a faithfulness in you that has been forged in the fire of the long wait. Other people have walked away from promises less tested than yours. Other people have stopped pressing toward breakthroughs that were closer than yours is now. The fact that you are still here is already the evidence of something remarkable happening in you. And the breakthrough that is coming is going to be the outward confirmation of the inward work that this season has been doing all along. You are more ready for what is coming than you know, and what is coming is more prepared for your arrival than you can currently see. Everything is aligning. Stay in position. It is almost time. Hold on. You are closer than you think. The breakthrough is not a distant hope. It is the next thing. Stay for it. Let us pray together. Lord Jesus, I come to you right now on behalf of every heart that is hearing this message. You know the one who has been in the final stretch for what feels like too long. You know the one whose faith is tired and whose hope is thin and who is one more disappointment away from stopping entirely. You know the one who is sitting right now feeling something stir in them, a small but real resurgence of the hope they had almost set down. Meet them there, Lord. Speak directly to the specific breakthrough they have been pressing toward, and let them hear you say clearly that it is close. Give them the strength for the next step. Give them the courage to keep going when the discouragement escalates as the breakthrough nears. Protect them from the enemy's final stretch strategy, and give them the discernment to recognize the escalation for what it is. And Lord, let the breakthrough arrive with everything you intended for it, full and complete and unmistakably from you, so that when it comes there is no question about who brought it and what it means and what it says about the faithfulness of a God who never abandons a promise. In Jesus' name, Amen. If this message reached you today, type "I'm not stopping" in the comments. And share this with someone who is in the final stretch of a long wait and needs to hear that they are closer to the breakthrough than they think. Because they are, and so are you.